everyone, today's video is going to be an update on my entire makeup collection rolling project pan. And y'all, I finally, after like, I don't know, 6.5 years, have an empty. So pleased about this. This is the Too Faced Melted Matte Longwear Liquefied Liquid Lipstick. You can see that it is no longer opaque. I have scrubbed this thing out. I could no longer get like a full lip application. I was just like digging and digging. I have been using this lipstick for legitimately, I don't know, like 1.5 years, almost every single day that I wear makeup. And here it is. Just, they last forever. If there is one thing, more than anything else that this project has taught me, it is how dang long my makeup can last. I have been doing this project for almost 2 years. And if you're not familiar with the project, I randomly draw a makeup item from my collection. I have 10 going at all times, so it's a rolling project pan. And no matter how much use is on it, I use it up. So I keep focusing on that product until it is all the way empty. This is my 8th empty. So my plan was I was going to do 10 in the project, decide if there were certain things I wanted to declutter, all of that, but in the project, and then start a new one. That's still my plan. I do think I want to keep it the way it is, though I know I don't update y'all very often, and that it lasts forever. But, you know, I like the idea of it. I like that at the end of this project, there will be 10 items out of my collection. So let's go ahead and update you on the other 9 products. And you'll see some of them have some really good progress that I'm really happy with. Some of them, no. So first, I have the Stila Tin Pan Eyeshadow Palette, and I have the shade Cassis. So yes, I do have like each individual pan on my list. So like I don't just draw an eyeshadow palette, I draw a pan of eyeshadow. So this is this shade. I do have it on today as my eyeliner shade. It is crap, y'all. You can tell by the swatch, which, you know, obviously isn't always indicative of the quality, that it's not that pigmented. It falls out so dang bad. I used to really like this palette, but I've been using it a lot more because it's in there, and I really only like this copper shade. And though it's pretty, I do have other copper shades. I believe that at the end of this project, this will probably go, but I do want to keep it because I don't like to declutter in the middle of a project. I know some people are for it, some people are against it. You can have your own opinion. For me, I don't like it, so I am going to keep it, and you know, we'll see what happens. But really, this pan still looks pretty now. I can't lie to you and say there's like a dip or something. And this one, it says it's lost 1 gram, so it's went from 152 to 151. Because again, once this is in my project, once a palette or whatever, I focus mainly on this shade, but like if I'm doing makeup and I'm not panning a copper and I want a copper, I will draw in these other shades. So the whole palette is getting some use out of it, but I'm trying to really just use up that one shade. Next, we have the L'Oreal Color Riche Quad in 211 Blue Haute Couture. This went from 35 to 34 grams, so that's good. And I'm focusing on this shade here. This is the shade I have in my crease. I know you can't really see it. This shade is just not wanting to show up. I think it might be that this palette's gotten old, but this shade does not show up near as well. I do still like this highlight shade. I occasionally, if I don't want like an insanely bright highlight, just like a pretty bright highlight, I will go in and reach for this, but you know, the shade that I'm actually panning is pretty lackluster, but you can see there is a really big dip. And I think a real big reason why there is such a large dip in this shade is just because I have to use so much every time I use it. But again, we're working on it. Next, we have the Polish Choice Blush It On Contour Kit. Again, I have used this blush every time I've done makeup pretty much. But we do have some really nice progress. I have a really large amount of pan in there. And I do feel like the more I use it, like, you know, once I hit pan, it is one of those blushes that kind of went a little quicker. I can go overboard with this blush shade sometimes. Sometimes, you know, I look a little bit clowny, but I do like the way it applies. I think it blends out really nicely, and I think it's a beautiful blush shade. I also, just so you know, have this contour and highlight on today, but I'm focusing on this blush shade. I've got a lot of good progress, but even that being said, I know that this amount can still take me a really long time, which is frustrating, but I'm working on it. Next, We have the Kat Von D Esperanza palette. This was my first high-end palette ever, and the shade in here is Dog Roses. So Dog Roses is actually what's on my inner corner. It's not a very bright inner corner, but I like to use every item in a project the day that I film an update. And y'all, I've got 8 eyeshadows, so I had to make it all work. This shade is really pretty. Honestly, that's just as good of a copper as the one that's in the Stila palette. The Stila palette's slightly more orange, but that's a great shade. I think it's really stunning. So yeah, I'm gonna sit there, and I like it on the lid is pretty much how I use it. Oh, I will say, I know that based on the swatch, you might be thinking, hey girl, you could use that blush as a eyeshadow. I've tried that and it doesn't really do what I want it to do. It doesn't blend well on the eyes, which doesn't really make sense to me because it blends so nicely on the cheeks. I don't know, maybe I'll try it again soon, but I don't really like it generally. Oh, and the Esperanza palette has gained a gram. I don't know why sometimes that happens, but it does. And the Polish Choice stayed the same. So next, we have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Mia palette, and this still weighs the same at 114 grams. As you can probably tell, I am working on this deep brown shade. There it is. I know it's hard to swatch because I don't really have that much left. It's a nice cool tone, really dark brown. I've got a smidgen left in this corner. I don't even know if you'll be able to tell, but there is there we go. The tiniest bit left, and then I have around. I use this in my eyebrows every single day. I think it's an excellent eyebrow shade. However, it is just to chuck it along. I just keep thinking, you know, if I use it every day, like I should use it up quickly. Well, I'm not. I don't know. It's not a bad thing. Like, it's frustrating as a panner to not use up things quickly, but it also just shows, like, when you buy an eyeshadow, it is a commitment. Like, you might as well be, like, signing a marriage certificate, because let me tell you, this eyeshadow has lasted longer than a lot of marriages. So, yeah, I mean, you just sit there and you just keep on checking with it. So, it's commitment, but I like it, and I do like this palette, so that's good. Next, we have the Geek Chic Cosmetics Awesome Mix Pigment. This is actually what's on my lid today. I don't love this look, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, but and this is the shade Ain't Nothing Like Me, so it is Guardians of the Galaxy theme. I like Geek Chic a lot. I've done a review of her pigments. I think they're really good. This one though is weird. So you can see it's like this beautiful copper, and its swatch is really sparkly and pretty. However, on the lid, the glitter like falls out and you just get that deep dark matte base, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's like you just gotta press it and then you can't blend. You just press it on and you're done. That's all you can do. But like, I don't think you'll be able to tell, but like I have like, oh, here you can really see. You can see the shimmer over here, but like this like bald shimmer patch right there. That's just like the way it applied. I don't really know why, and I don't really like it, but that's what it did. So there you go. I do like those pigments, but not that one specifically. But again, I'm going to keep using it. It still weighs 7 grams. It is kind of exciting to me, like, I guess this sounds weird, but it is kind of exciting to me to know that once I do finish this project, so I have to use up 2 more items, that I will probably be decluttering some of the, a significant portion of these things, because I don't like decluttering things, but I do because it makes me know that like what I have left, my collection is more curated, and I know I'm really gonna like it. And that also means that hopefully next time I start this project, everything in here I'll like more. That's the goal. Next I have the Urban Decay Smoked palette. And this shade I'm panning is the shade Freestyle. So you can see there's some decent pan on there. This is just like very similar to my skin tone. I use it as a transition shade, and I think it works really nicely for that. I maybe would prefer, here we are. I am tan right now. I spent 3 months outside doing field work. I'm a biologist, so I have a darker skin tone than I normally do. It's still not dark, let's be honest, but it's darker. So because of that, I feel like this is like a little too light as a transition shade right now, you can see, but in the winter it works really nicely. But yeah, so I'm working on that guy, and I do like that palette. I think it's pretty, and it says it lost 2 grams. It went from 157 to 155, but sometimes, you know, they just fluctuate, and I don't really know what to do about that. So next we have the Tarteist Pro palette. I actually got this palette from John, my boyfriend, our first Christmas together. He didn't know what to buy me. I said, let me get on Sephora and I will pick something out. And I picked out this because it had just come out. And I really wanted to play with it. I don't know how I feel about this palette anymore. I'm going to be honest with you. I like the shades in it. I'm still really drawn to them, but I just don't know about the performance. But I am panning the shade Edgy. It's really soft. It's a beautiful kind of warm tone brown. There you go. You can see it's really pigmented. I just feel like sometimes they blend not great. But I probably should play with it a little more. That is one of the reasons, if you don't watch my channel, I do what's called a weekly product pan. So every week I do similar to this. This project actually inspired my weekly product pan. I randomly draw an item from my collection. I decide if I like it or not. I use it every day of the week. And at the end of the week, I either decide I'm going to keep it, I still like it, or no, I don't like it. And that also means that I get more use out of my collection. So I love doing that. I think that's a really beneficial way for me to know what I have in my collection and if I really like it. And I kind of feel like I need to do that with this palette just because I'm not sure. But that shade swatches nicely. So this palette lost a gram as well. But the shade that I'm actually panning, it's got a dip, but I've still got so much powder in there. And last but not least, we have the Stila Eyes Are the Window to the Soul Body. Eyes Are the Window palette in the shade Body. Nobody really talks about this. Here we are. This shade broke out. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful white shimmer. I loved it. And it fell and broke. But this is the shade that I'm actually panning. It's called Emerald. It's pretty, but it is patchy. It does not blend well. It does not apply great. Yeah, I mean, you can tell in that swatch. It's super patchy. It can also, it's what I have in my outer corner. I think today it's pulling really blue and nice, but sometimes it can pull really black. But I did hit pan on it. Before, last update, I didn't have any pan on that, so I hit pan, making progress. I pretty much use this one, this blue, and this dark purple as eyeliners, and that helps me get some use out of them. So yeah, that's my project. I have all of these, so now we're gonna pull a new thing, and I really hope it's not an eyeshadow, because if it's an eyeshadow, that means you're gonna have to wait a really long time for another update, just because it takes so long and I don't have a ton of use on my eyeshadows. But again, with that weekly product pan, the goal is that a lot of what I have is more curated and I do like it better. We'll see what I draw. So, and everything, the less I have, obviously, the more use everything gets. So that's kind of the goal. We'll see. So I have 1 to 1,403. That's how many pans of eyeshadow or just like general makeup items I own. 1,097. So what is that? That would be a more recent purchase probably, or relatively. 1,097. It is an eyeshadow, which is not great, but it's okay. Like, again, I've had people be like, oh, if you get something you don't like just redraw. And that's an option, but for me, it's kind of not, because I feel like that's cheating. Here it is. It's from my Tarte Magic Star palette. I've done a review of this as well. This is a hefty palette. You can see how thick it is. And here we are. So there are some really pretty shades in here. Now the shade I drew, 190, is Getaway. This one is Getaway. This like taupey shade. Now this could be a really pretty crease shade. It'll probably end up being another transition shade, which is kind of annoying because I already have a transition shade in this palette. You can't even see it. There it is. It's a slightly darker transition shade. So there we go. I am now panning this shade as well. I was really hoping for something that was not a brown eyeshadow. But this also just lets you know, like, how much brown eyeshadow do you have? I have a lot more eyeshadow. Oh, whoopsies. In my collection than anything else, so I know that it's a lot more likely that I'd pull an eyeshadow. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just trying to, like, you know, let you know. I do like this. I think it'll be interesting. But yeah, I was just hoping for something because I am a little ready to end this project and start a new one, but I don't want to quit it because I just don't. Like, that's not a me thing. I know some people would. Like, you do you. I'm not telling you what to do, but I don't want to. So I don't know what I'll use up next. Probably, I would guess, either this blush where this eyeshadow is probably what's gonna happen. But I don't feel like either of those is gonna happen really soon. But all of that is to say, I have in this project used up 8 items that I probably wouldn't have used up otherwise. So that's awesome. Like, in the end, that's the goal, is to use up makeup and get use out of it. I know that now, because I've drawn this, I'm going to get a lot more use out of this entire palette, which is great. So I'm still really excited about this project. I do still really like it. I've got 8 empties, 2 more to go, and we'll restart it, and I might declutter some of these things. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you have any questions, requests, suggestions, or comments, go ahead and leave those down below, and I'll just see y'all real soon. Bye.